104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gull Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas ticket.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. All right, you're listening to Mornings Lone Star on irlonestar.com, worldwide, in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you're hearing this voice, that means we are live in the studio with 307 Departure. We're a little late. That was my fault. I was kind of setting everything up. Typical rock and roll lifestyle happening over here on Mornings with Lone Star. But they are in the studio, and we are here. We're also on YouTube, Facebook Live. Just look up Lone Star Community Radio. 307 Departure is, I don't really know how to describe music today in any way because all the genres are mixing together, so I don't really know. I just know they sound tight. So meaning like they sound good, and they actually all seem like they know what they're doing, which is nice because when you go
that's good. I like
well,
that.
it kind of it all depends on when you go see people live today. That's the way I judge people. And you guys are actually playing live tomorrow in Houston.
That's right.
I think it's a $15 door ticket.
Yeah,
I believe
15, 20 at the door.
And it's several bands, and
yes,
you guys
quite
are
a few.
just
It's
rocking
our
out.
Valentine's Rock Riot. We're kind of doing like a pre-Valentine's weekend show at BFE, a venue that we play at pretty frequently. It's just kind of one of those deals where even if you're a Valentine or an anti-Valentine, you can come on out and just hang out and have a good time, listen to some good music.
Well, there's so much to talk about, and I encourage everybody to check out their Spotify. I put a link in the description below for all the social media and also the Spotify. Y'all released an EP not too long ago, I would say, right? Like a year ago?
About a year ago, yeah.
Right, yeah.
In November.
And you guys are constantly touring or doing stuff. Y'all actually tour like all around the country almost, right?
Yeah, last year in February, we did a tour around just a few states with Trapped, the band Trapped. They're pretty popular back in like the early 2000s, kind of coming back on the rise now. And that was a ton of fun. We did a Wyoming, like a northern tour back to where our hometown was with Lucid Illusions a couple years ago. And this will actually be the first time we're talking about this, but we're planning on doing it again this year. We're going to be going up north for a couple dates with the Southwest Rising Stars Tour, and we're going to go up there and do a date in Colorado and then do some of our own dates up in Wyoming and some respective spots up there.
All right, folks, if you're listening on the radio, we have Kellen Moore and Grayson Moore in the studio, and I believe the drummer is actually working this morning.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Y'all are a three-piece band, 307 Departure. And again, like the only way I can describe it is, like I said, y'all sound tight, meaning like everyone knows what they're doing. But also, I think what I like about it, it has this 80s feel to it, and I can't put my thumb on why I feel that way.
Well, I'm really glad you brought up the kind of the cohesiveness and the tightness of our music, because that's something that both Grayson and I have really had instilled into us by our dad. Was like, if you guys are going to kind of do this and you're going to do the music, it has to be more than good. It has to be great. And in order to have great music, especially coming to live shows, it has to be really cohesive. It almost can't have any variables, if that makes sense, other than just your own respective personality. Like everything else is down to a science almost, except for just like a comment here or there, or some crowd work.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially for people wanting to come back, because people you have to leave that impression for them, and then like they sounded really good. That means every time I see them, if they sound really good, they know what they're doing, and it's going to be a good show.
That's right.
It's very rare to have that in a band, like a local band, I would say.
Exactly, yeah.
And then especially with when I imagine when you get more popular, and then you also have more people around you, there's more control over what you guys are doing. And right now, it's basically just you guys? Are y'all literally like the guys in the van traveling around? Or?
I mean, it's kind of hard to explain.
Because you said Trapped, and I'm like, okay, I know who those guys are.
Our family, we've all we have immense support from our family and our friends that all
Well, you know why, right? Because they know you're talented, and like they're gonna make us a lot of money. So we got
right, and
we got to put in the
with the help they gave us, they get a big cut at the end.
Got to put in the work.
But yeah, we've had a lot of people join on that just want to help because they want to see us succeed.
Yeah.
And that's something that we really
and
appreciate.
That's not just family. We have some friends as well who we met in just recent years and now have become very, very close and almost an integral part of what we do because they not only love us but they love the music and they love the art that we're creating, and to have that support group alone is amazing. And then I really have to give kudos to my dad a lot because my dad is like, he's one of those guys that like, competition sets a fire in his gut, and he's like, I want to see you succeed as much as I possibly can. And so he set us up with so many people, and he almost works himself to the bone trying to just get us more opportunities and
I feel like that's what the grind, like when people say it's a grind, that's what the grind is,
yes.
is the opportunity part. And so again, I want to remind folks, where exactly are you playing tomorrow?
BFE Rock Club in Cypress.
Okay.
I say Cypress. It's what's that? What's 1960?
Yeah.
Jones Road,
It's on the west side of 249 or is it 149?
Yeah, 249 Jones Road around there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know where that is.
I don't have the exact address on hand, but yeah, it's a pretty popular venue amongst kind of the rock scene. But yeah, it's over in.
Just
Jones
check out
Road.
y'all's Facebook. It's right there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of posts on Facebook, Instagram.
I'm sure there's an event up and everything. So.
Yeah, we have reminders on Instagram too. So
there's a lot of pain. It sounds like a good time.
It's gonna be really, really fun. We hope. I mean, this is. We do headliner shows every once in a while, but it's not something that we do very often just because, I mean, there's only a few venues that we headline at from here to there.
Yeah.
But when we do a headliner show, we like to try and, spice it up so it's not just like, hey, 307's coming to play. It's like 307's coming to play this, and it's got like a title, and people kind of feel more enticed to come to it if there's like a gimmick, I feel like.
Especially with the lineup y'all have, because y'all have several options going on with bands.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, that makes me want to go longer.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, this is kind of an all-day kind of thing almost.
We like to kind of keep things, we want to keep things in the same vein, but at the same time, we have no opposition to diversity in sound and genre and all of that. We just want good bands that will play good music and that enjoy the good time. And so, of course, all the bands on this ticket, I got to give huge kudos because they're all super talented bands. We've got some coming out of Austin, and they're all just super nice people. And they've been super cooperative, like throughout the whole booking process. That's something that you deal with almost every day in the band business. Is like the booking and keeping people consistent is really, really hard because schedules change a lot.
Well, that's why I was impressed by your brother over here. He actually has a notebook.
That's right.
And I was like, this guy has that's what you went to go get. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the deal with the notebook, guys? People have phones.
Notes apps take up storage. That's why we have notebooks.
Oh wow! So y'all wrote that many notes.
It's kind of like taking a picture, where you think, oh, I should take a picture of this, and by the time you get your phone out to take a picture of it, it's gone. Like a firework, right? It's kind of how our notebook thing is. If I think, okay, I need to write it in my notebook, it's something that's a little different, and it keeps me active on the.
It's a place of retention.
I respect that.
A place of retention.
I do have to ask because I have no idea really about how I heard of it for you guys was through a friend. And he's like, hey, you have bands on your show? I'm like, I have anyone on my show. I don't really care who's on my show. And he's like, well, I know this band that's really good. And I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, I like good people. That's cool. So I don't really know that much about you. I just heard it through a friend. I've heard your music. You're on Spotify. I was like, oh, these guys are legit. And whoever produced your album did a good job because I listen to a lot of music, different types of music. Mm-hmm. And you can definitely tell who's a producer and who's like, oh, this guy. It's just turning knobs.
Definitely.
Kind of like me. See, I'm not a producer. I'm trying to I'm just want to make sure people can hear it first.
Yeah, you're doing a
I
great
would
job.
call this production. I would
job.
definitely call this a production for sure.
Oh yeah, but it's music is different because we're trying to play good music.
Right.
And,
okay. Well, I mean, we have a lot of really amazing people that have been brought on to work on the albums. Nowhere Land was kind of a group project with a guy named Danny Saber from Los Angeles. He's worked with the Rolling Stones and Ozzy Osbourne and a bunch of really, really big names back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And so he kind of, maybe not on the mixing side, but more on the ideas side, gave us a really clear idea of kind of where we wanted to take our songs on the first EP.
Yeah, I like Anita P and Say It. Those are my two.
Yeah, those are the crowd favorites.
Yeah, they're upbeat and they're good. And then, like I said, it's tight.
Absolutely.
So, But how old are you guys? I gotta ask.
I just turned 18 this last November. So
happy birthday!
18, thank you.
And I'll be 20 next month.
Okay. So does that present any problems where y'all go to play?
Well,
sometimes.
It used to. That was early on. That was really hard to get booking shows because when we started, I was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not gonna have kids come and play in the bar, and then we had a couple local rock
We're not
bars
gonna have kids. I like it.
gave us the chance. Yeah, and again, just kudos to everybody who's made it happen. It's one of those things.
It was kind of almost exactly like he said, just a deal of like until they were used to us and they like didn't know what 307 was. Like you can kind of understand from a certain point being like, oh yeah, my 14 and 13-year-old son want to come play at your bar versus like, hey, we have a band that is going to come play. And then we played, and then now people are kind of more used to us, so we can kind of go around a little more and play some different places. Plus, we're getting to the age now where we can.
Yeah,
we're
well,
starting to
I
be able
always
to
wondered
play.
that because I remember one time I was visiting my best friend in Austin, and he goes, "Oh, hey, I forgot I have tickets to this concert." And I was, but like, so can you just hang out? I was like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." And then so I was like expecting him back at like 2 a.m. or whatever. He comes back at like 10. And he's like, oh, it turns out the headliner was 16, and so the place had to close early.
What?
Because he wasn't old enough to like play past. I think it was some rapper or something like that.
Oh, well, yeah,
And
it could be something to do with
I think
labor
it was.
laws.
I honestly think it was Tyler the Creator.
Oh,
This
really?
This is way back.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been probably.
But they
10,
found
20
out
years
he
ago.
was. I guess they have some rule at the place where, like, if the performers like all age, they have to shut the place down after he's done, or like the concert stops. They can stay open, but
I will say this. When we went to go visit Danny Saber in the Riding of Nowhere Land, we of course went up and saw all the tourist attractions in LA, and we went up to the Sunset Strip, and I can attest for a fact that they will not let you step foot on premises unless you are 21, no matter what. We tried to just go into the Whiskey to get a picture on like the mural wall in the Whiskey A Go-Go, and they were like, nope, won't do it. My dad had to go in and get us shirts from the Whiskey.
yeah, I mean,
But I mean, that's a good thing. I like that they're doing their job, and they're kind of, because there is some problems that arise from that, just having young kids there. But I mean, our crowds especially do a really, really good job about respecting the venues and respecting the promoters. I mean, BFE Rock Club was one of those places when we were really young that gave us a chance, and we still play there to this day. So.
well, I think that's what's right now. Y'all have that opportunity where to shock people because you're like, holy, like you just turned 18, and y'all sound like, because what I'm saying when you hear it. The age isn't there. Like there isn't even an age question. It's just like, oh, these guys are good. So
I appreciate that. I mean, I really do remember at a time when we were younger. I would say maybe around the writing of the test, not the release of it, but the writing of it. I was probably 16 years old, and I mean, to me, right, it sounds like I used to write so juvenile and sing so juvenile. Like it was just like very
I totally
young.
agree. The Test is the first single, by the way. People don't know.
Yeah, so the test is actually our second single.
Single?
Scream It Out is our first single.
Oh, okay.
It had a re-release. That's why it probably shows up with a later date.
It's kind of tucked in a weird spot on our Spotify, but but when the test was kind of conceived, I remember when we released the test, I was like, I love this song, but I kind of just want to like grow it up a little bit more. And then Nowhere Land came out, and it was kind of in the same vein. Like I was like, I love this music, and of course pop punk is very dear to my heart, but I wanted something kind of a little more from it. And so now in recent times, we're kind of leaning more towards like a heavier, maybe grungier sound. I wouldn't say maybe full on like.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Grunge.
All the genres are kind of mixing together.
That was something we got told a lot with our live shows. Is people are like, you guys are just a mile a minute going. Go fast, go hard, rock music the whole time. They're like, we need something to mellow us out. And I think that's kind of what our next album is kind of gearing towards, is just kind of like how philosophical can we get with this?
First things first.
At 20.
That, yeah.
And 18.
Right.
Because, I mean, we listen, the majority of my listening time goes to probably, like, Avenged Sevenfold and System of a Down and all that stuff. And while I love that music, like, I don't think that's necessarily where we fit. We can do that, and we love doing that. It's fun to do, but personally, I think I really like where we're sitting right now with our new album.
No, I think it's great.
Because it's going to be kind of like he said, it's slower, but it doesn't have any less rock value to it. Like, it's still going to be very driven and very, like, heavy, but also not like, I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean? You're just going to have to hear it for yourself when it comes out.
Okay, when's that coming out?
No release date in mind as of
so you
right
literally
now.
haven't written anything about
Well,
it. In that notebook, if I took that notebook.
It's pretty well conceived, actually.
It's a secret.
Here. Well, I mean, you can't really see any details from there, but
here we go.
There's a chopping block list on that page.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get a full-length album.
Oh, okay.
10, 12 songs in the mix.
And that is hard.
That is very difficult.
Very hard, because something that I would honestly, I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about this in so much depth, because usually when we do interviews, they're pretty short.
Well, I'm a deep guy.
Absolutely, I love it. So Nowhere Land was actually written and composed and recorded and produced in a very I guess, kind of stitch it together mentality, where it wasn't on purpose, but we just wanted to get something out so bad that I'm pretty sure all the guitar takes were taken either in our studio at home or Danny's garage in California. All of the vocals were done either in Danny's garage, which I say garage, it's not just like a dingy garage, it's like a studio garage, but in his garage
it's always a garage.
Our studio. It's like it was like padded floors.
Well, I know,
but
that's what I'm saying. It's like everyone goes into their garage, like I can make this into a studio.
It's like, people don't really have their basements anymore, like their man cave kind of thing. That's kind of
that's like a northeastern thing, though.
It is.
Yeah, right.
We don't have, there's no basements down here. In Wyoming, everyone's got a basement, but no basements here. But everything was done in a different place and kind of stitched together. And then the final mixes were all done by somebody in Dallas by the name of OZ, who he's a super awesome sound engineer, super great, mixing engineer.
Yeah.
And then it got put together, and like I said, I love that album, and I think it was really, really good work for our first kind of rattle out of the box with trying to put together a selection of songs and do it the professional way, quote unquote. But I think the next album will be a very large step up in terms of professionality, mix quality, and just the whole 9 yards, songwriting, everything. So.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Or you just sleep a lot and dream, and then boom.
That's him.
Yeah.
You're the sleeper.
Yeah, you look like the sleeper.
He's the
I
sleeper.
am definitely the sleeper. This is earliest I've been up since I graduated.
Oh man, that's right. Yeah. Where did y'all go to school?
Montgomery High School.
Yep.
Okay.
I just graduated my senior year a semester early.
And I graduated in 2022, so 2 years ago.
So how did you graduate early?
I took couple dual credit classes over the summer.
Yeah, because that's kind of one of those things that's y'all are at that point, I imagine, where you go full force, because some of y'all still have to, you just graduated, so you're still taking care of that. And then what about the drummer? What about the loser that's not here?
He's going to Blinn right now.
Yes.
So he's older than y'all?
He's 21.
Josh is 21, yeah.
Okay, oh, great.
And so he's enrolled in Blinn College. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head his major. But
have you asked him to buy you beer? Because that's illegal, just to let you guys know. It's illegal.
Yeah, plead the fifth. We're in a
I'm just kidding. I'm
building.
No, Josh is a great guy, and I'm enrolled at Lone Star. I'm doing some online classes for a business degree.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure he'll probably enroll at some
next
point.
semester probably. I decided to take this, beginning of the year to focus as much energy and brain power into the band as we could.
Go all in,
could, at least.
as you put it. Go all.
Well, yeah,
in,
that's
go
what I
all
mean.
in.
Y'all right there, kind of lining up with that schedule in a sense, in the life schedule.
It's very tough. I mean, I teach music kind of on the side, like just to kids, like guitar and vocals and things like that. And I'm very fortunate for the scenarios that I kind of set myself up for, because the people I work for are super, super nice, and they understand and they know kind of the situation that we're in with the band. So they're
it's
pretty
almost
lenient.
like if they believe it, they're like latched on as if they are part of it.
Essentially, yeah. I like to think that you
just gotta hook them.
I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I get special treatment, because everybody gets that kind of treatment.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own personal things, and they take everything seriously. But I think you're kind of right at a certain point where it's like they kind of have a belief in me, because I went to the school that I work at. Actually, we both went there and learned guitar, and he learned bass there, and now I work there. And so I think they genuinely do have like a slight or a good belief in us.
Yeah.
And so when I tell them, I've got to go and to take, a couple days for a tour or a couple days for a show here or there, it's no skin off their nose, because they know that I'm not, just blowing them off and not going to work. They know I'm going to do just some other kind of work.
Yeah. So do you guys plan on playing around here? Have y'all played around here a lot? Or is it more of Houston? Because you said you got a show for St. Patrick's Day, I believe, in Katy.
That's right. Yeah.
And then
so
people want to look at your tour, like to give them an idea of where y'all want to play.
Well,
okay.
Local shows, it's kind of interesting, because there's not, like a venue down here in Montgomery Conroe area that
for
like
rock
for
or
rock,
for punk.
rock. That's the best way of putting it.
That's a real good way to put
Oh
it.
no, I literally had this conversation last Sunday with a group that we did. We went to a fundraiser over at Sawyer Park, And I was amazed at how many musicians were there but it's all country.
If there's anybody out there listening, this is a problem. We need a rock venue.
We would love to play anywhere.
Yeah.
And anyone who would take us, we have our own sound equipment. We can bring whatever's needed. We would love to play anywhere. You want us to play your backyard? Hey, we'll play your backyard.
I like that idea. And I talked about this with the folks over there. There was a musician I met named David Grace, and he is more of a blues country, not really country, but blues. I call it like John Mayer kind of love-making music kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he even said, he's like, I grew up with all these guys, and they're all country singers. Like, I don't want to be a country singer. I want to be this person. But we can't really do that around here because everything's country.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to do some adventuring out to kind of... Well, I say, adventuring out. For us, it's adventuring in. Like, you kind of have to go to the outskirts or Houston itself.
Well, Houston has a great punk scene.
It does.
Right.
We are not really involved in, like, the underground punk scene, like the real, like, kind of bustling and vibrant one. We hope to at some point.
I forgot where I
it.
went a while back. This is like, I don't know.
I mean,
10 years ago, you had a password to get in.
Like Numbers, Bohemio.
Yeah, one of those things.
Numbers, Bohemio's The End, all that stuff. They're really cool venues, and I like how much energy that the crowds and the bands that go there and play bring to it. So we're definitely not opposed to being like a part of that. But
like, what was even more wild about that place is you had to have the password, and then you had to know the exact change to give the doorman.
Oh.
So it was like 63 cents, but it had to be, like 2 pennies, this
That's
kind of
cool.
They could like really sniff you
So,
out.
it was, one of my buddies was a huge punk guy. Like, just,
you
loved
gotta
it.
sniff out the posers.
Like, I called him a poser because he had an outfit. Like, he would wear certain clothes when he'd go to the concert. I'm like, isn't the whole point of being punk is to be you? So why are you wearing, like, special shoes that you keep in your closet for punk shows? They go, that's not punk.
I think that could be slightly punk. That's something that guy could
It's like battle armor.
Yeah, battle armor. Yeah, because I won't sit here and say that I all through high school got called emo, but I did was wear black clothes, and like now, I have certain things that I'll wear to shows. Like even just for like social events.
You don't care. That was kind of punk. You're yourself.
But also, I think punk is more kind of just like that nature of like knowing who you are and like kind of being your own person and not letting other people do the thinking for you. Like, I think that's what I really closely associate to punk with is like you are your own mind. You should use your own mind and kind of don't become a hive mind kind of thing. Like Rage Against the Machine talks a lot about that.
And now they're part of the hive mind.
Yeah, a little bit. But then like the Descendants and stuff was super awesome.
You know what's so funny to me about that Rage Against the Machine? It's like it's so easy to not do that because for the first 3/4 of their career they've been raging against the machine, and all they had to do
they became the machine.
Well, all they had to do was just not say anything. Mm-hmm. But I guess they go. We're so used to talking to everybody. It's like we got to say something. Like no. This is
I hate talking malicious, but at a certain point, just when you talk that much to so many people about the same thing, eventually you just go crazy and like kind of just lose your mind on that thing.
It was just funny to me. It's like, guys, all you had to do is just be quiet.
Yeah, just keep playing the music. Yeah. But no, I think that like bands like the Descendants and Black Flag and the Adolescents and people like that are like that real kind of old school punk. I think that seems like the most raw kind of punk energy to me because that's what that was just like it was some teenagers that wanted to be their own people and not like they were like, this isn't just a phase, mom. Like they wanted to be different than their parents were. They wanted to be more angsty and rebellious and they found their own people in that, and then punk became kind of the stereotype it was.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting because you have certain bands like the Replacements, and then there's another one on top of my head I can't think of. But it doesn't. It sounds more folky punk.
Yeah, folk punk is a huge thing. We love the Dropkick Murphys. Huge folk punk band.
Oh, yeah.
But it's almost what happens. I feel like is that specific musician only really knows how to play a certain way, and so he in his mind he's punk, but what comes out of his body is like it's not like I don't know how to do it. I know how to play folk music. So, but I still have that punk mentality.
Yeah.
So I speak folk, but I mean punk.
I
don't know how to put it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to
word
it.
And I think I really like how, there's a lot of really hot takes that a lot of musicians give on the music scene these days. But what I really, really love is how everything has kind of become this like, well, just throw it in the bowl. Let's see what, like, genres really aren't like as restrictive as they used to be. Like, as much as I sit here and say that our new album is going to be kind of grungy or kind of heavy or whatever I sit here and say, at the end of the day, it'll probably just get slapped under the alternative category. Yeah. Like, it's so open to interpretation these days. So kind of going back to what you were saying, like, folk punk is a huge thing. Dropkick Murphys, Floggin' Molly. We love bands like that because we have a lot of Irish blood in our family. And so I love Ireland.
I couldn't notice.
Things concerned Ireland, like that stuff. And folk punk has its place, and especially when it comes to like addressing certain issues belonging to the country. Like, I would even go as far to say that Zombie by the Cranberries could even be considered slightly folk punk because it was about kind of some wars that were happening between England and Ireland at the time. And in my opinion, that's a real good take on something that was genuinely happening at the time, and it was well received by the world. So that's folk punk, in my opinion. As long as it's got some decent ground to stand on, and it's kind of, it's got to have the essence of wherever you came from. If you're doing folk punk, it's got to have folk involved into it. So, but, I love that stuff, and I think it's a really cool way to kind of play on not only your culture, but also your love for music.
Yeah. Because it really does come down to the writer. Who writes most of it? Does it all work together? Or?
Yeah, it's a group project. We've gotten Josh a little more involved now that when we released our first album, he wasn't quite on yet. We got him beginning of January 2022.
Was he like a water boy or something? What was he doing?
Yeah, kind of. Like he was
actually drumming with another band for a while, and when we finally were like, okay, we need to start looking for another drummer to go play some live shows, I knew this girl from a vocal teacher that we had both went to at one point, or both of us, meaning me and Grayson. And this girl also went. We met her one day when we met one of the producers we worked with, iRock, which huge shout out to iRock. Wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for him.
Does everyone have one name in the industry?
I don't know. I think
I've said like 3 people in the industry, music industry, they have one name. Is that what?
It's just cool that
one
way.
name is super cool.
Yeah.
If you get 2 names, and if you get 2 cool names,
like who's the guy in Dallas?
It's like a rank.
Who's the guy? Who's the mixer in Dallas?
OZ.
Who's yeah, just
OZ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
name.
I mean,
right,
a lot
cool.
of people have like an alias too, which is kind of cool.
I dig
makes
it.
things easy. I mean, I know a lot of Brians, but I only know one OZ.
I only know
true.
one OZ. But we knew this girl, and I knew that their drummer was pretty cool. He was a young guy, like kind of, fresher on the scene. So I called her, and I was like, how was he as a drummer? I know you guys aren't together anymore because they had moved to California. So I was like, how is he as a drummer? And she said, he's the best drummer that I've ever met and ever had behind the kit. And I would go as far to say that I agree, because that man never once has given us less than 100% at any show that we've been to. He always wants to be involved. I mean, even when I called him to yesterday and he told me he wasn't going to be able to be here, he was like so mad and like so upset with himself because he was like, I'm gonna see what I can do. And I was like, Josh, don't get yourself fired from your job.
We can call him. You want to call him?
We could give him a. Oh, well, he's probably at work now.
I know. Let's call him while it works so we get him in trouble.
Maybe we could get him on the phone.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do. You have a show tomorrow. I don't want to get him in trouble.
No, and he's a.
You know how bad attitude his would be if he got fired today and he's like, I have to go play tomorrow.
I don't know. You haven't met Josh. Like bad attitude. You got to really push Josh.
Well, it's not. It's not bad. It's more of he'd have slight depression,
like an upset attitude.
Yeah, right,
like he would just be like bummed. But
well, that's the worst thing. I imagine one of the most challenging parts of playing live is keeping your spirits high or in the groove of giving a good show, because say your cat died or something and you're like, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely times where you'll have a show, or even like I would say practice and like rehearsal is definitely a lot more where that shows through, because you'll have a really long day and you're like, man, I just want to sit down and kick my feet up and watch some TV or something, like just kind of relax. But then you have a job to do, and if you want things to be good and tight and cohesive, got to keep everything polished and in ship shape. So if you don't practice, the show won't be as good. And then as far as shows, I think that usually what happens is you'll have a day if you're feeling off, and then when you get to the venue and the venue kind of starts getting some life in it, it kind of knocks that out.
Yeah, I imagine that too. Or a Krispy Kreme donut or something.
Yeah, that always does the trick too. Blue Powerade for me.
Something
my
to set
go-juice.
you in the mood for like it's time to go. We got to rock it today.
A Blue Powerade will instantly make me feel better about anything. Yeah,
That's
I love
weird.
Blue Powerade.
Yeah,
better than Gatorade.
That's
tenfold.
really weird.
It's a key for him. Yeah,
Better than
Key to his
Gatorade.
heart.
Well, I know. I
better.
get you. I feel that you believe that.
I'm specific about it. I'm super specific about it.
And now you're excited about it. Guess what? We don't have any Blue Powerade here.
Darn it.
Well, we could go to 300 Bowl. There's Blue Powerade on tap.
We'll make
so,
it
oh, it's on tap?
yeah, it's on tap.
That's nice.
So
go back to 300 Bowl. I love it. Dollar Games on Monday is awesome. It's so good.
I don't know if it's that.
Is it Monday anymore?
No, I think it's Oh man, now you got me
$3 games on
confused.
Monday.
I don't remember.
I don't know. They have some deal that you can go in on Monday and you can get like a bunch of games for like a couple bucks. Super awesome.
I don't want to get them in trouble, but yeah, like something like it's just. I think it was Monday.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't quote me on that, but,
but
they had something that was cool.
Yeah,
like
I know they have $3 Sunday mornings.
That might have been it.
And they have $3 Tuesdays. Something like that. They changed it up.
But my dad back in
I don't pay for anything there,
in like the 80s and 90s was a huge bowler. Like he has his own ball and everything at home. But we just like to go bowling because it's fun. It's recreation, something we can go out and do.
I love bowling.
And I mean, it's just everything's so expensive nowadays that 300 Bowl is affordable. So we go there.
It is kind of wild thinking about that because like even going to concerts, that whole world jumps because like the local venues. Because I remember in Houston. Some of my favorite venues, like I didn't mind paying the $5-10, but when it hit like $25, I was like, "Does that come with the drink?" Like,
no kidding.
Because I know, like at Do-Si-Do has a system there, which is respectful, like respectable. Like I like what they do; they bring great artists, but you're paying $100 plus a ticket. Right. But that includes a meal, and I'm guessing that's just the market they want to be in. Here locally, there's a couple shows that you pay for, like your show tomorrow. I think I saw it was $15 or $20 at the door.
I think it's 10 for people over 21 and 15 for minors.
Okay. Oh, so minors can go.
Yeah, yes. It's all ages. It's all ages. But kind of going off of what you said, just talking about like ticket prices and everything like that. We try really, really hard, with whatever weight we have to be like, we don't want to gouge people out of money for tickets.
Right. And like
I would. Why not?
Well, I mean, it's not about the money
not
to
saying
us.
like bump up the price. It's like, hey, we're here performing, so how are we making money?
No, for sure,
right.
And that's definitely a thought that you always want to take on. But at the
Unless
end of the day,
you're doing a charity event or
it's
something.
about like spreading the music and
we
really
make
getting
sure
the music
our
out.
boxes are checked for sure. But we really try and pay it back because like a lot of our people listening to our music could be my age, could be younger. It's hard for them to go to shows like this one, for example. It's a little bit earlier. We start around like.
You have like 5
doors
bands.
open at like 6:30 or something.
Don't you have like 5 bands?
Doors are at 5. Yeah, music starts.
We have 5 bands starting at 6:30.
So that makes sense.
But
and
like,
if they suck, you get a new one. You're like, you're out of here, guys.
Get out of here. Well, we have.
We try and make it as accessible as possible for anybody to come and see us.
And then the ones usually the only ones that kind of start to get more on the expensive side as far as our ticket prices go is when we're playing with like a national band or if we're playing with somebody who's got a little bit bigger name. They usually want to charge a little bit more for the tickets, which I get at a certain point, and that show at that point kind of isn't about us at a certain. It is, but it isn't. We're just going to open up for somebody or whatever.
And I think what a lot of people don't realize too, especially like your show tomorrow, you have 5 bands.
That's right.
So the variety adds a premium to it because most of the time you're seeing one band and you get one experience.
Right.
And now you're getting 5 experiences for a good price.
10, 15
bucks. A lot of people complain about festivals, especially like there's a huge country festival coming here, biggest Texas Fest.
Oh, biggest Texas, yeah.
So,
I think I know a guy playing on that. I think his name's Garrison Nunn.
Well, yeah. Well, let's check. We got the list right here.
See,
no, but anyway, but people are like, man, $400 for a ticket for a 3-day weekend. I'm like, yeah. Look how many bands you get to see.
Yeah.
And it's 3 days.
And it's $40 for 3 days.
No, it's I think it was $400.
Oh, okay.
For 3 days, but I was like,
but
still, it's a festival package,
Yeah.
so you're going to be there all day. You can see probably 20 bands.
20 plus bands on a big stage,
yeah, and plus you get to see Dwight Yoakam, which is pretty baller.
That's super awesome.
Because I love some Dwight Yoakam.
We do too.
And,
Streets of Bakersfield is one of our favorite country songs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Shout out to my Uncle Aaron, man. Shout out to Uncle Aaron.
I was trying to convince my friends, like, y'all need to come just see Dwight Yoakam because it's going to be a part.
I would love to.
Because people don't realize he's the guy in the beginning of Wedding Crashers. So I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. Y'all need to watch it.
Owen Wilson and
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn. Yeah, I think.
But the opening scene is where they're doing their mediation because that was their job, where it's between a divorcing husband and wife, and he plays the husband. And when I tell people that, I was like, "That's Dwight Yoakam," and they're like, "What? Wait, the singer?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, he's
so funny.
That's hilarious."
So that opening scene gave me a lot of cred for my convincing them to start listening to Dwight Yoakam.
That's cool. Because I like Dwight Yoakam. I obviously don't listen to him extensively.
Yeah.
But like I said,
he just puts on a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen some live footage of him, and like I was saying, shout out to my Uncle Aaron. We used to listen to Streets of Bakersfield all the time because it's Dwight Yoakam and then Buck Owens. I want to say it's some of the old country legends kind of like getting together and throwing down on a track.
you said you guys are working on a new album, and you guys have. I put your social media on there, and that's where y'all kind of post all your tour dates and everything coming up. And the summer's coming up, so I imagine like you said, you probably have a big tour coming up that's not in the area or actually going.
Yeah, we're gonna go out for a little bit during the month of June.
Yeah, and then so what else is going on?
So we've got we're playing up in Huntsville the 30th of March. 28th we're at Warehouse Midtown. They're merging. It was Warehouse Live.
Yeah,
the
in Houston.
They closed down, right? And now they're joining with Rise Rooftop. It's becoming it's
Warehouse Live Midtown.
Warehouse Midtown, right.
They're doing Breakout Thursdays, I think is what they're calling it, and we're gonna be with Lucid Illusions in Kenton Place, up in downtown Houston. It's gonna be a killer show. That venue is so
that's
fun.
March 30th.
That's
March
the 28th.
28th.
And then the 30th we are at 12th Street Bar in
Mm-hmm.
Huntsville.
Okay.
And then April 12th, we're back at BFE with Primer, which is they reached out to us, and they gave us a really nice compliment that they said out of all the bands they were playing with, they were excited to see us, and I was like,
they were like really hoping to get us on the ticket, and they reached out with a nice message, and so we're excited to play with those guys. And then I know we got a couple more in there.
Yes, yeah. May 4th, we're playing Carmen's birthday, Carmen Barreto at the Wildcatter Saloon, and then we start our tour June 8th. So we start with a Houston date here. It's going to be at Acadia Bar and Grill. We go south to South Padre. We're playing. This is okay. South Padre. We're playing Longboards Bar and Grill, and then
Colorado is Herman's Hideaway.
Colorado. We hike it up north.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple days going up there, but
But are y'all putting this online anywhere so people?
Yes,
can...
we will be putting it on our Instagram and Facebook.
Good.
We have a big show schedule that we're working on right now, but I mean, a lot of these dates that, especially with the ones going up out of state, have been, kind of created in the last week.
Yeah, the Warehouse Live one sounds, because I haven't been there in a long time.
Warehouse Live, so like he was saying, the actual venue, the old
gone.
Warehouse Live is gone. It's no more. That's and rest in peace to the old Warehouse Live. Have a lot of really good memories there. We had some awesome shows there. But the merge that they're doing with Rise Rooftop is really, really cool. And I think it's going to kind of drive some more of the rock traffic to Rise Rooftop. Because Rise Rooftop, from what I know, I mean, they've done rock concerts, but they're more of a club.
Is it because I'm trying to look it up. Is it the one in Midtown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's two different Warehouse Lives.
So it's Warehouse Live Midtown.
Yeah.
But you can also probably still find it under Rise Rooftop.
Yeah.
But it's basically it's like a penthouse building.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's
really
also
cool.
it's also on street level. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you go in up these stairs, and then you go inside, and there's a big stage, and it's just like a big hall. That's where I kind of said it's like a club.
Yeah,
it's got the two double decker.
Yeah, it looks tight.
We were there for the Hometown for the Holidays, the 94.5 The Buzz show. And that was like one of the first big rock shows I've seen there. I know there's been a couple bands that have played there, but that was there was a lot of bands on that ticket. So it was a good scene for the rock scene, right? Like it was a good show.
Yeah.
Got to see a lot of rock music.
I kind of want to go to that one when y'all are there.
You definitely should. Fun. And everybody listening should also do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will like I said, we will post all of these on social media so you can get all of these dates.
There will be a big old show thingy going up probably in the next couple days.
We'll put flyers up for each individual date as well as they appear.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I know
thank you for having us.
It's been it's kind of fun to meet people like you because the music's actually good, and a lot of times I get disappointed because
such a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah,
It
really means a lot.
It's just fun.
Us, yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. I encourage everyone to check out 307 Depature on. I put the Spotify, but they're also on other stuff. You have a YouTube channel. Y'all have Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And they're working on a new album. They're going to be putting tour dates up in the local and also country area, like Colorado and things like that. Right. So if you live in those areas or like to travel there, look them up. And then, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Can't wait to see you guys again. Maybe to get the full band together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
You've been listening to Mornings of Lone Star here on irlonestar.com, guys. We're going to get back to the regular programming. I'll see you guys later.